Well, hi, it's Maria, and today I'm chatting with Courtney Guhl-Huckabay. And Courtney is a licensed professional counselor supervisor and a national certified counselor. And she's also the author of Reframe and Reclaim, a 7-step guide to reframe your relationship with your belongings and reclaim your space. So, Courtney, we've got 10 more minutes. What's one thing you would love for the world to know?
Just really thankful to be here today with you and talking to you about my book. And one thing that a lot of people think about whenever they see our book is it's about people who are over collectors or hoarders or disorganized. And I want everyone to know that this book is for anybody who has things and belongings. It's really helpful for all
Mm.
stages of life, for any life chapter you're in. And it can be really helpful just to follow these 7 steps to help you just reframe that relationship.
Yeah, so good. That's so good. So, Courtney, how did you discover this?
Well, I have a friend who is also a co-author of this book, Jennifer Harris, and we met a long time ago, and she is an interior designer. And she was helping her brother to clean out some of his home and reorganize some things. He was going through a change in his life. And she realized there's a lot of his things that she thought were unnecessary. He was holding on to things. He had all these excuses and justifications of why he couldn't let go of them. And then she started realizing that she too had some of those same justifications. So she talked with me and she asked me some questions. And, we talked a little bit about the psychology of, how we learn about, how to do life and who we are and our identity. And we learn a lot about that through our family systems. We learn habits through our family. And sometimes we create our own mindset of what that means for us in our life. And so we decided to join together and write a book on how to help people understand the psychology and their mindset, but also redefine the functionality and the design of their space.
It's so cool because I read the first part of the book where she talks about her brother, and there was a family loss, right, that really impacted them. Yeah, that really touched me, and I'm glad you start with that. And it's as you're talking, I'm thinking it's a two-way street. It's like your mind, your psychology affects your space, and your space affects your psychology. So it's a
Definitely.
cool place to work in. Awesome. And so, what's the first step someone would take in this process?
Well, we have 7 steps, and 7 steps is the acronym RECLAIM. And it takes time to do this. The book goes through each 7 steps and questions to ask yourself, steps to take for that. But the first one is just to reflect. And reflect is to reflect on your space and how you want the space to feel and how you want the space to function in an ideal, optimistic kind of space for you.
Yeah. And I like it in the book because you include, because often we share our space with other people. So it can be a spouse or children or a roommate or
Right.
whatever. And it's like asking both people is also interesting because they maybe have different um, ideas. But I think when you're asking them to really reflect on what you want it to be, then they can kind of come together on that.
And that's a really important thing is, you may come into having these belongings before you meet a partner
Yeah.
or before you have a child or the function of your space no longer needs that function you used to have. And so going through this, over and over, throughout your life can be really helpful and beneficial as well.
Yeah, I started this process in my closet and I like the reflection piece because it's like, how do I want to feel in here? I had not really asked myself that. And then it gives me a new perspective on keeping things or not. Does this, align with that? So, what's a common obstacle that people face as they get started?
There's so many different things. Throughout the book, we talk about the different justifications of why we might keep something. Maybe I haven't used it in a long time, but I could use it again. I
Yeah.
want to keep it just
Oh,
in
yeah.
case.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel a little bit of guilt or burden of to keep something that someone else has gifted them or given to them. They don't want to hurt anyone's feelings or give something away or donate something that someone has gifted them. it may have value. A lot of people say, well, one day, this is going to have more value, or I'm going to find just the perfect thing and it'll be kind of my ticket.
Yeah.
And there's just lots of different things. Like I have good memories tied to this. Like I have this and it reminds me of that thing. And so I don't want to forget that memory. So we hold on to those things to remind us of that as well.
Yeah. I'm thinking of something that I got rid of. I hadn't thought about this when I was first reading your book, but I'm thinking about it talking to you now. That was my son's. It was a little collection he had, and in moving one time, I got rid of it. And I couldn't get rid of that feeling of regret. It was so intense.
Mhm.
It was really, I know, it's like such an intense feeling. And it took a couple years to be able to be like I could have done EMDR on it. I was like, I can't believe I got rid of that. I remember just looking at it and just being in that stage of like, oh, it's gone. It's got to go. So I wish I had maybe reflected a little bit more, but I think there is a point sometimes when we're cleaning up that we do get rid of.
Yeah. The way the book is written, it isn't definitive of what you should do. It's
Yes.
really of what feels right for you. So each person, each individual gets to explore the process,
Yeah.
and it's okay if it's not yet,
Yeah.
or I keep this forever, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
It's really person-centered, for what feels right and is right for that person, not what is right for everybody.
Totally. No, that's good. That's good. Yes. So how do I know if I'm doing it right?
You'll know if you're doing it right if you're honest with yourself and really following these steps. There's 7 steps. I promise if you follow the steps, it sounds a little scary to like clean out a whole space. That's C. Clear out, clean out a space. It can feel a little overwhelming, but when you see it empty and clean, you can sometimes see it differently. So really following these steps and allowing yourself to say, it's okay if I don't get rid of this now. But also, if you finish the 7 steps and you haven't released anything from your space, we need to be a little more honest of what really needs to stay and what really is important to keep and what is no longer serving you or serving a purpose for you.
Yeah, I know one of your steps is to, once it's emptied out, to kind of stage it in your mind. Well, this will go here, this will go here, this will go here. And then the one piece that I really loved further down, I think, is you say to do a gut check once it's in.
Yes.
And I love that. Yeah, can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so that's the I, that's the kind of taking inventory. So we have an idea of what the space is now, and we have a maybe different idea of what it could be. But once we really start to lay it out and put things back in, does this feel right? Does it feel overcluttered? Does it not quite function? Is it not the right system? And if it doesn't feel right, then change it. And that's really important because it has to feel good and it has to feel right for you, not for your neighbor, not for your aunt, not for your brother.
Yeah.
It needs to make sure that the functionality and the system you come up with works for you.
Yes, totally. And that's at the point I love it because the gut check is at the point where you've done a lot of the work. You've taken the room, you've taken everything out of the room and so on. You're in this space. And I think that helps then with accountability. And I know that's another piece that you put in there. Which is, yeah, it's like how do you because one of the stories that you have, one of the case studies that you have is a couple that's really bogged down by it in their office. Like the day-to-day. So if we look at it, it's like the cost is so high if you don't reclaim your
Mhm.
space that you live in every day.
And the cost for them was, this is a couple who is retired but still involved in their community,
Yeah.
involved in different groups that they choose to be involved in, but they can't find things. They lose things. They don't have a system of maintaining things, so they're spending time and extra money to find things that they already have.
Hmm.
And in this case study, the gentleman actually found his passport.
That's,
He had lost his passport and found his passport in this day that we spent with him. So again, it is a really wonderful investment in yourself and just revamping, refreshing, looking at what works and what doesn't work for you in this current life chapter.
yeah, I love it. Well, okay, so that's our time. So thank you so much, Courtney. And I'll put all the info in our description and thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.